Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I will bring you the tea. Welcome to Chronicle Speaks.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at you.
Now, Porsha Williams and her soon-to-be ex, Simon Guobadia, have been going back and forth in court over a nasty divorce battle. However, Goubadia, who is a Nigerian-born businessman, was detained yesterday by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, at the Stewart Detention Center in Georgia. Now, Simon Guobadia has been illegally in the country since 1992 after seeking temporary residency status under the Special Agricultural Worker Program. Simon is said to have used a false identity at the time, as well as misrepresented his criminal history. Now, this entail gave him a permanent residency status because they weren't thinking that it was Simon Guobadia. Because his temporary residency status was unlawfully granted, he has not been able to get citizenship under the name Simon Guobadia since. In order for Simon to be granted naturalization, he has to be lawfully admitted to the United States for permanent residence. He's been lying ever since, and they're not trying to hear it. So they picked him up, took him to the detainee center, and more than likely, Simon is going to be sent back to Nigeria. Porsha is online singing her "Oh Happy Day, Honey." We are going to get into this story and so much more, but before we do, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any news regarding this story and so much more. Now let's get back into it.
Do you have your passport? Did you get your shot? Who wants to come back with us to America?
Now, according to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the Nigerian native Simon Guobadia is currently being held at the Stewart Detention Center in Lumpkin, Georgia. Porsha took to her Instagram page and she said, "It's disheartening to see my estranged husband make choices that have led to this outcome. At this moment, my priority is moving forward with my family." Bless his heart. We were all wondering, well, damn, what did he do, Porsha? Well, hours later, there were reports circulating online that Porsha Williams' ex, Simon Guobadia, was detained by ICE amid mass deportation. Now, Simon Guobadia's status is listed as in ICE custody, which means he is being held by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Now, this detainment comes amid President Donald Trump's mass deportation plan, which he signed into effect earlier this year after taking the Oval Office. Now, under the order, illegal immigrants could be deported back to their home countries. Now, Goubadia, who is currently 60, came from Nigeria to the United States in 1982 and allegedly overstayed his visa and was declared deportable in 1985. Goubadia then returned the next year in 1986 and once again overstayed his work visa. Now, in September of 1987, Goubadia was arrested for bank and credit card fraud and pleaded guilty to a felony offense. Now, he was arrested in January 1989 for unauthorized use of a vehicle and again in May of 1990 for fraud. So they were trying to get him out the country. They were like, enough is enough. But in January of 1991, Goubadia committed another felony offense, credit card fraud. And in April of 1991, an immigration judge held a hearing and ordered Goubadia be deported. Now, on March 4th, 1992, Goubadia was deported and physically removed from the United States. But obviously, there was some reason why Simon was trying to get back to America.
America.
Now, although he didn't have his passport and he didn't have his shots, he did remember that back in 1988, he used a fake identity to apply for a temporary residency status under a special program called the Special Agricultural Worker Program. Now, when he submitted this application, he did not mention that he had a criminal history because he was going under a different name. Now, because of these lies and omissions, his application was approved and he received a temporary residency card in July of 1991. Now, Simon received his permanent residency card on April 27, 1992, 26 days after he had been deported under his other undisclosed identity. So in 1992, Simon was once again back in the United States after using a different identity and obtaining a green card, which they later found out all of this was fraudulent. So now he's here illegally. So in 2016, he applied for U.S. citizenship but was denied because his temporary resident status was unlawfully granted. In 2020, 2020, he applied for naturalization again, but was denied due to his previous misrepresentation. In 2022, his appeal for citizenship was denied and his deportation was reaffirmed. So all of this information came out just a few days before Porsha filed for divorce from Simon. After that, Simon took to social media and bragged about living in the country for 42 years. So Simon filed a complaint asking the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services to reverse the decision denying his naturalization application and instead grant it. Now, they responded back, but they asked the court to dismiss the complaint because Goubadia hasn't shown any reason for the court to approve his application. In essence, he hasn't made a valid case as to why his naturalization should be granted. In order to be approved for naturalization, Simon would have had to show that he was lawfully admitted into the United States as a permanent resident. And as you all know, he wouldn't be able to do that because in 1992, he re-entered the country and stayed, but he stayed under a different identity. He also misrepresented his criminal and his marital status, so we all know
it was all a lie. Guys, it was all a lie.
Now, these are the reasons why his application continues to get denied over and over again. Now, he doesn't deny any of these allegations, any of the charges, being a felon or anything. He does state that the USCIS has messed up by overemphasizing these lies and that the government is to blame for not noticing them sooner. He wants them to ignore the lies that he made on the SAW application and grant his naturalization. However, they said this cannot be done. On January 11, 2025, Simon's case was dismissed, so now he's again deportable. So Simon took to Instagram a week ago and said, "I think a man with a college degree and 35 years of professional and business experience can read a prenup and knows what it says. Shaking my damn head. Hashtag every day for the thief. Hashtag one day for the owner." He then goes on to say, "Caption speaks for itself, and I mean every single word. On second thought, the saying every day for the thief, one day for the owner means that while a thief may get away with wrongdoings for a long time, eventually they will be caught or face justice. It highlights the idea that dishonesty or crime might seem to go unpunished for a while, but sooner or later the rightful owner or justice will prevail. It's a reminder that wrongdoing doesn't last forever and consequences are inevitable, courtesy of ChatGPT." Now, it seems like being a dishonest thief has actually caught up to him in the long run now that he's been detained by ICE. And since he wants to bring up ChatGPT, I did a little search myself, and it says that divorce can still proceed even if your spouse is detained or deported as long as the court has jurisdiction over the case. The court will generally allow the divorce to continue even in the absence of the spouse, though it might take longer to finalize if your spouse is unreachable. Now, with their divorce being contested, I'm not really sure how this is going to work out. Maybe one of my legal eagles in the comment section can let me know. What I need to do is hear from you. What do you think about everything going on with Simon Guobadia being detained? Leave a comment and you know how we do. We'll talk about it down below. Talk to you guys later. Bye. As always, thanks for watching. But before you go, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any of my new episodes.